messaging for climate. So yeah, and this was, I'm helping Jadison out with this, but a lot of this has been done by a lot of Jadison's hard work and others. So yeah. Oh, I think that the slide stopped sharing. There we go. Okay. So yeah, just an outline, we're going to be covering 3 steps for effective market messaging, do some practice, and then talk about other best practices. So to start out, we're going to have a group brainstorm, and the question is, what messages have stood out to you recently and why? So if you all want to think about that for a little bit, and then you can share out, you can unmute or write in the chat. But just, yeah, again, messages that have like caught your attention, or, something that you still remember, even if you've seen it a while ago, and the reason for that. So I'll mute myself and give you some time to think and share out. Yeah, so if anyone wants to share, please feel free to do so. I know that in the in-person version on Sunday, Jason had some really great things to share, like examples. So if you want to share those as well, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, so I guess some things that I've seen recently, well, I've seen billboards, like I think like downtown area, I saw like a billboard for PETA, and is either PETA or Vegan Justice or one of those. And yeah, it was really like clear messaging with like a really like a awesome picture of like a really impactful picture of like an animal, and then it had like, oh, like go vegan today, and I can't remember exactly what the wording was, but it was very like striking, and it was short, like a short message, like really got the point across. And it's something like people who are in their car could just glance at and see and kind of like know what it's about. So I thought that was pretty effective. Like, that's something that we don't normally think about when we think of like messaging. Sometimes we a lot of times think about like emails and social media and stuff, but it's kind of like good to think about like other things like billboards and stuff too, and like what messages are on there. So yeah, that's just something I saw recently. But yeah, I think there's a hand up. Someone else wants
Yeah,
to go.
Pamela, if you want to share out as well. Thank you, Jadis.
Actually, I think it was a little bit more about the messenger, but I was watching Grey's Anatomy recently, and Miranda, one of the top surgeons on the program, said something about the planet is boiling and we have to reduce, vehicle emissions and airplane travel and whatnot. And I was quite struck by it because she's kind of an unusual messenger. I thought it was really fantastic to see a Black woman saying that message.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that the messenger can also be, one of the most effective components of, effect clear messaging and direct, and things that you remember or grab your attention. So yeah, if anyone else has something to share, you can do so in the chat, but we can move on to the next slide. So yeah, we have another group brainstorm, and we want to talk about what makes a message effective. So, as was stated, the messenger can be a very key part of that. But if there's anything else that y'all have identified that makes a message effective, you feel free to share out now. As Jadison says, things like striking images and, clear, bold, um, like text can be effective. But if you all have anything else, again, to brainstorm. Yeah, feel free to unmute.
Well, I think something that really grabs the attention, so something that is concise and somehow makes a personal connection, whether it's climate change effects on children, or I don't know, something that really grabs the attention that can be understood and taken in just a very, very short time, and that somehow moves the person.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I definitely agree. Would anyone else like to share a bit about this?
I could.
Yeah, building on that, like appealing to emotion and logic and emotion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Appealing to emotion and logic can really be an effective way to spread a message. And I think Fred also was about to speak.
Yeah, that it has to be a compelling message or people will ignore it. But the thing is, it has to be clear, crystal clear what the message actually is. You can't expect the person to pull it out of a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. Keeping your message clear. Sometimes that means, making it more concise from like long paragraphs of text and things like that. Or sometimes the specifics are necessary, but emphasizing that clear point. Yeah, so if I could get the next slide. Some other examples we thought of, making it appropriate for the audience, ensuring that it provides useful information, and also ensuring that it inspires a particular action can make a message effective. So we're going to start by talking about how to make it appropriate for the audience. So step one is to identify who you're talking to. Are they parents and grandparents, young professionals, retirees, or youth, or someone else? So I think we all know that, how each of these different groups could respond to specific messages. Like, for example, parents and grandparents, it might appeal more to, their emotions if we're talking about, how climate change affects families, for example, or, just for youth, for example, if we're talking about how the future of climate change will affect everyone's future. So, yeah, definitely identifying the audience is important. Another thing that we think it's important to understand is your own story. So understanding, your own background and where you fit in the climate movement can help you connect to your audience. You can establish a common ground with the person you're talking to and think about what message you want to send them. Using your past experiences and identity can help you establish a personal relationship with your audience. Again, another example, like I'm a high schooler, for example, and I know that a lot of myself and other youth tend to understand our role as younger people and really use that when we're talking about climate change. And I feel like doing that can be more effective and compelling to people who aren't like us, or maybe who don't understand that perspective. So this can go anyway, like no matter what your perspective is. I think that you can use your story to establish a clear message, and one that is compelling as well. Another thing that is important is connecting intergenerationally. So how do we connect audiences of all ages? So for things like humor, like videos or reels on Instagram and memes are popular among youth. Another thing is ensuring that there are clear action items and next steps for, events or any like resources that you're sharing. So including like the location and date for events or links to petitions or whatnot, very easily attached so that the viewer can access them. Ensuring that your graphics are engaging, being creative, if it's an Instagram post, using things like colors, photos, switching it up. And then also including photos of people. They oftentimes do very well. I think people like seeing other people, or kind of just seeing like something real on, social media, for example. And the Flickr, the San Diego 350 Flickr is a really great resource to use to find those photos. And then step 2 is to provide useful, meaningful information. So here's an example. I prioritize reducing my plastic use, recycling, eating plant-based, not supporting fast fashion brands, and supporting SD350's policy efforts. Most of these actions are immediate and anyone can do them starting today. The results of the policy work take a little longer to see, but are equally as important. So when reading this message, we want to identify what does this person know and what information would be useful and meaningful. So we can tell that Allison knows about the impacts of consumption and how to reduce her own impact. And then Allison might like to know a bit about, or might like to know about a recent policy victory and how it came about. Here's another example. I volunteer and donate because I want my kids, grandkids, and everyone else's children to grow up and grow old on a livable earth. I want to know that I did everything I could to stop the climate crisis. So again, we're asking ourselves, what does this person know and what information would be useful and meaningful? So we can tell that David knows that climate change poses an existential threat to future generations. And David might like to know about upcoming events where he can volunteer with his grandchildren. And then step 3, to give it a purpose. So purpose connects is connected to what you want the audience to do after receiving your message. So there can be, many different types of purposes: to inform, to educate, to alert, to inspire, to incite, or to invite. Here's an example of this social media post from San Diego 350. So the purpose is displayed through, it's the post's ability to inform. So we know that Masada is in the news. It also inspires. We know that there's hope for better climate policy. It educates. The Biden, it's, talking about how the Biden administration has the power to set policy for a just recovery from COVID-19. This is a little bit of an older post. And then it incites by allowing you to read the full article by clicking the link. Here's another example from the World Wildlife Fund, I believe. Might have messed up that acronym, and if so, I'm so sorry. Okay, sounds good. And then it informs because we know, so I could explain this, but I actually want to open it up to all of you. So what purposes do we think apply to this message? So I can read it out super quickly. Sea turtles play an important and integral role in maintaining the marine ecosystem. However, over the last 100 years, sea turtles are facing survival threats from habitat loss to degradation, poaching, pollution, incidental capture, and climate change. Share to help us spread the word to protect this beautiful creature. If any of you want to unmute, raise your hand, and help identify some of the purposes out of the 6 listed on the right that apply to this message, feel free to do so now. Okay, yeah, I guess we can do this together.
I could also say one to start us off. I guess so. I would say that it educates because it says over the last 200 years, sea turtles facing survival threats, and kind of goes on. So I would say that's an educational component there. And yeah, if someone wants to say something else.
It alerts
the share and help is for the invite. Well, I guess it's incite. You're asking them to share.
Yeah, and then if Ruby wants to speak, and then Pamela.
sorry, I can't really hear, but it alerts the reader on like that they should care.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
share.
I agree. It definitely does alert the reader about why they should care and share the message.
I don't think they addressed the alert for urgency.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely think I could see that too. I think they're educating, but maybe they're not, emphasizing how urgent of a problem it is. And then I see that Pamela has their hand up. So
Well, I thought that really it communicates everything except for invite. And I don't know, I did see kind of a message of alert in there by listing the variety of threats, but I'm already aware of this issue, so I may be reading into it.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it goes to show how different audiences can perceive messages differently. So that's super important to keep in mind. And then we can go on to the next slide. So another tip is to use direct and clear language. So we have two examples listed below, one before and one after. And sometimes we tend to get caught up in some of the specifics of what we're talking about, especially because the people who tend to make the posts are already either knowledgeable about the topic or have received a lot of information about it. So it can be easy to really play into those, again, very deep specifics. But sometimes when you're communicating a message, you want to keep it as broad, as clear and concise as possible, so that anyone who stumbles upon it can understand what it means. And there are definitely times when being specific is very important, but other times, of course, it is equally as important to make sure that your message is concise and just directly gets to the point. And now we're going to watch a video of an example.
You are a good person. You spend time with your family. You work out at the gym.
Come on, push.
You conserve water while showering. You like nice clothes. You give to charity. You recycle. You drive a Prius, but you use your bike when you can. You enjoy the occasional distraction at work, and you always send a card on Mother's Day. Always. But there's a part of you that tells yourself that you're not so good, that you could be doing more, that the world is falling apart at the seams, and all you've been doing is yoga. One day, you see that the rainforest is being destroyed at a staggering rate of 32 million acres a year. That's the equivalent of one football field every 78 seconds. You feel bad, angry, guilty. You've been apathetic for too long. You want to do something about it. You must do something about it. Well, this is what you're not going to do.
I quit!
You're not going to quit your job, leave your family, get on the next flight to Nicaragua, take a bus to the edge of the jungle, then hoof it across rivers, lakes, and streams on a quest to the very heart of the rainforest.
Take me to the heart of the rainforest.
You're getting closer. You're almost there. You have arrived.
You're not going to ingratiate yourself with the local tribesmen, go to great lengths to earn their respect and trust.
No.
It is around now you realize you're living out the cliché gringo fantasy of becoming an honorary native and leading the resistant forces. But screw it. If they could do it, so can you.
I'm gonna save you! This guy comes over here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna pull a zap thing, that's right through him, right over here.
You're not going to coordinate and occupy the rainforest movement, realize it's hopeless, summon the power of the gods, lead a revolution against the deforesters and their multinational employers in an apocalyptic, once-and-for-all battle to save humanity, only to awaken 2 days later in an El Salvadorian hospital with 2 toes missing on your left foot.
Siri, I wanna go home!
Hobble out of Central America, up through Mexico, across the Sierra Madre, where you break down, have your first cigarette in 4 years, accidentally start a wildfire, killing off the endangered species that once served as your occupational distraction, finally make it back home, only to find you've been replaced at work by a guy named TJ, and that things at home are not what they used to be. You're not going to do any of these things, but what you can do is follow the frog. Buying Rainforest Alliance certified products ensures the future of our rainforests, so that you don't have to do the things you shouldn't do anyway. Just follow the frog.
Yeah, so now we will be getting into two groups. To perhaps or no. Okay. Just together we're going to discuss who is the audience, why this video's messaging was effective, and talk about was there meaningful information, was there a purpose, and share it with the group. So if anyone has any initial thoughts, we'd love to hear them.
My initial thought was, how could you guys keep a straight face? You must have watched it before, because I'm over here cracking up. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I have watched it a couple of times and it's so funny. I know, I don't even know how I kept a straight face, honestly. It is funny.
I guess I'll start with who's the audience. I would say sort of just the average person who is like us, thinks you're doing the good, you're doing all the little things at home and you're like, there has to be more that I could be doing, right? And that's why we're here. So that audience is, people who probably belong to st350.org, right? It's those people. And it's other people who are just, around, they maybe donate to the World Wildlife Fund. They maybe do a lot of those things, but you're like, wow, there has to be more happening. So, yeah, and it kept me in suspense because I didn't know where they were going with it, because I didn't know what the ad, because when I first started, I'm like, oh, that's a YouTube ad. We got to get through the ad before she gets to the real video that we're supposed to watch. And then after a while, I realized this is the video.
That's funny, I know, because the video is kind of an ad. So like, yeah, people could probably think it's like the commercial before.
I was waiting for the 30-second video to be over to start the real one. And then I was like, wait, what?
That's funny. The never ending ad, right?
Yeah. And they had real meaningful information, because they're like, yeah, that would be ridiculous. I wouldn't know anything about how to do that. But they're saying you can help by buying all of our products, which are labeled with this thing about the frog that makes it easy to figure out, if you're supporting the right organization. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Super quickly, Jadison, I'm not sure if you're getting my private messages, but
So sorry. Okay, do you have to leave now?
I think so, yeah. I think because I have to open up a meeting because I was the owner of it. So
sorry. No worries. Yeah, I can take over from here. You're all good.
okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sydney.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. Okay, great. Yeah, Sydney was only going to do the first part of it anyways. I knew she had to go to another meeting. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Janice. Anyone else have any comments on who they think that the audience is and like why they think that this message was effective? Pamela.
I think that the audience was people that are already doing stuff but feel a little bit overwhelmed, and also people who are aware of some of the issues, but they just haven't gotten to the point where they know what to do or how to get started or have the time. And I think that it's really quite a brilliant ad. I think it engages the watcher with humor and is entertaining and memorable for that reason. And I think that it was presented pretty succinctly that here's how to help is to look for the little frog emblem on the products, and you can make a difference too. I think that's pretty effective.
Totally. Yeah, you said humor. You hit it right there. Yep. Humor is a very effective way of getting a message across for sure. Yeah. So, Fred, did you want to say something else?
No, I don't have much to add to that. It's getting a little bit confusing at the beginning, and then it ended. I think that brought it somewhat into somewhat clear, but some of the humor in it kind of threw me off at the beginning.
I know, like Janice said, it's like, okay, where is this going? Like, yeah.
Well, and I
Can you
thought
catch it?
that the thing about, everyone wants to do something, but they're saying don't blow up your whole life, because you can actually have a better effect if you do some of these smaller things. But the not hyperbole, but they were just the exaggeration of it just
Right.
really came, brought in the emotion, and you're like, oh yeah, that's so exaggerated. But you can imagine some people doing that, but it just the exaggeration was very effective.
Yes, I think we've all been there in our brains. We're like, okay, we want to like do these big things. And it's like, okay, well, we have to think global, act local, right? Like I feel like that's like kind of an underlying message there too. So yeah, you can do just as much help at home than you can over there, probably. So any other last minute thoughts before we go on? All right. Okay. So these are kind of like some answers that we thought of. All your answers are also like great, and a lot of them are in here too. Yeah, the audience, maybe people who don't know much about deforestation, or who might know like a little bit about it, or people who work, just kind of like an everyday person that like works but like wants to make a difference. People, yeah, who want to make a difference but just like don't know how or don't know where to get started. um and why was it effective? It definitely had that comedy, that humor aspect. It was relatable. I think we've all kind of been there at one point or another where we're like, we want to do these big things. And the story had a character development. There was a conflict, a resolution, like all of that, and clear and simple call to action at the very end. It's like, look for the frog. So it tells you exactly what to do. And it used facts in an entertaining way, with visuals and statistics. When he was like on the computer looking up deforestation, it like integrated those facts within the PSA pretty much. So yeah, okay, we'll move on. So here is a little recap of what we talked about. So the 3 steps for effective messaging, we have, identify the audience. Who are you talking to? How can you make your message relate to that audience? Provide useful and meaningful information, like what does the audience already know about the issue, and why should they care about what you're talking about? That's a big one. Why should they care? And give it a purpose. So what do you want the audience to do now? So what's that call to action going to be? All right. Okay. And then, of course, it's helpful to know your platform. So it's good to know your message, and then how can you share those messages, right? So, here are some social media platforms. Is a great way of sharing messages. Also through word of mouth and other ways that I'll get to in the next slide. But this is just kind of the social media slide. We have Facebook, what's good for Facebook. We have a lot like videos, like this video, for example, might do well on Facebook or YouTube. But yeah, so videos, curated content, sharing articles are great on Facebook. For Instagram, of course, videos, educational material, inspirational messages, stories, photos, quotes, that kind of thing, do well on that platform. And then Twitter, of course, sharing news like alerts, breaking news, and blog posts, and gifts too, but a lot of it's like a lot of news oriented kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of just to know what platforms go, like what audiences are on each platform and what works well with those different audiences. So and then the next slide, these are other platforms. So SD350 uses a lot of emails. So we use like the weekly volunteer newsletter to get news out, and get our messages across. We also have the monthly newsletter where we, write blogs to go on the website, and monthly newsletter. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I introduced myself, but I'm Jadison, the marketing and fundraising coordinator. I know Sydney left and then I just took over. So yeah, so that's why I'll get to like the marketing team later on. But yeah, so we send out the newsletters to get our information across. So email is a very great way to get people to know about what you're doing and what you want people to do or take action, right? Like sign a petition or something. Emails is still really great platform to use. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll go on. Oh, there's a line here. Okay. Well, we are going to do a little practice round. And so we're going to get into breakout groups. And I think we're going to do like teams of breakout groups of 2 to develop a messaging strategy. And so for your campaign or event, create like a short targeted message. I have some examples of campaigns that you can use. Of course, you can also make up your own. And then I have a worksheet for you to fill out. So I'll put that in the chat, the link to that. Where you can help like develop your messaging around the campaign or event that of your choosing. So some examples that I have below are like, you could do the Let's Go San Diego. That's like a transportation campaign. Also, we'll have like 10 minutes, so you can like do a little bit of research on these too, if you would like. And the food waste SB 1383 with the green bins, that could also be something you could do like a messaging strategy around how to promote that, and like how to get people to use their green bins. Also, you know, you could do something for a protest. We've had like a Sempra Frax Our Future campaign, or, you know, Biden declare a climate emergency. You could do something revolving around a protest, or, you know, just wildfires in California and how that relates to climate change, or diet and climate change. These are all just examples. And of course, you can also do make your own example up as well. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and we are going to get into, groups of 2. So let me put in the chat real quick here. This is a link to the Google Doc. And if you can't get in, let me know, but I think you should be able to get in. And there's breakout rooms. So it says like breakout room 1, 2, 3, that you can join. So once you have your number of your breakout room, you can just go to that worksheet, and then you could just scroll down. And it just goes 1, 2, 3. So you should be able to get to your section. And we'll give about 10 minutes in these breakout rooms. So let me open this up real quick. Okay. All right. Okay. And we're going to do okay, so I'll see you here in 10 minutes, and I will give you a warning about 2 minutes before our time's up, so that we can kind of start wrapping things up. And yeah, if we come back and you guys need more time, we can also go out back for 5 more minutes, but I think 10 minutes should be enough time. So, okay, I will see you back in a moment. All right. Oh, wait. Okay, sorry. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Janet, do you think you'll be joining the breakout room? Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hello. All right. Thanks for I know that that might not have been enough time. I know there was kind of a lot of questions to get through, and like it's kind of crazy how it's kind of a lot for just like 1 to 2 sentence message, like there's so much to consider, like your audience and like, your call to action and what you want to relay. So, do you all like need a couple more minutes to get that message, or are we
Yeah.
good? Yeah, you need more time?
Give me more time.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. So I'll put like 5 more minutes. You think that's a good enough time to get it, maybe? Get that message?
That should be.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I'll put you back in for 5 more minutes then, and I will see you back then. Okay. Good
Right.
work, y'all. All right. I will open up the rooms. First one back. Right, and Pamela, hello, welcome back. Okay.
So
Oh, go ahead.
Alexa was in my breakout room, and the connection got bad, and then she vanished altogether.
What happened? Oh, I'm sorry. So you didn't get to work on it with her then for the second part?
Well, part of it we did.
Okay. It just kind of her connection got shaky. Okay, well, hopefully she comes and joins us later, but thanks for letting me know.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully she comes back, but okay, well, hopefully everyone got a chance to get to that like last question. It still is kind of a lot, but hopefully y'all got a chance to get there. So I'm gonna put my screen on again, and then we can share out. Here, let me see. All right. Okay. So, so this is a chance for you all to share like what your topic was. So maybe it's just if one person on your team or your breakout group wants to share like, what your topic that you wrote about was, and then maybe that 2 to 3 sentence message that all those questions culminated in. I know it's like a lot of thinking for just like one message, but in order for it to be effective, like it's a lot like involved just to get that, one message out. But and then if you also want to share like those platforms and like maybe an example, you can just share like one platform and an example of like how you would share it. Like maybe it's with a photo or like a video or something. But yeah, so it's kind of casual. Who would like to go from their group?
Well, I was going to nominate Shaw, but he walked away, right?
Oh no! Oh, he's back now.
I was going to nominate Shaw because he was typing it out, so he probably hasn't
Okay.
So we can read it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just the
You
message
read
at
it.
the bottom.
You want to put the document up on the screen, or?
Yeah, I can. That's actually a good idea. Let me put the document up on the screen. So let me stop sharing this real quick. And share. So many things. Sorry, this won't. Okay, here we go. Let me get this. Okay, so here is the document we have here. So you guys were group one?
Group one was focused on AB 1383, which is a law requiring everybody, individuals and businesses, to separate their organic waste, their food waste, from their trash and put it in their green bins instead. And it's been in effect for a year and a half now, but it's not fully implemented. A lot of people are not doing it yet. It's January 1st, 2024, it becomes enforceable. Municipalities can even give fines if they choose to.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Okay.
tell her what you said about the apartment buildings also. That was interesting.
Yeah, so apartment buildings right now can order those bins. They need to pay for them, and but they can choose not to at this point. But January 1st, they all have to have those bins in place, and they should be used.
Oh yeah, because my apartment complex has a green bin, but we don't have the caddies yet. So I just bought a caddy for like to put the food in to like bring it out to the green bins. But yeah, I mean those caddies are super helpful too. I know everyone's supposed to get this, but yeah. Nice. That's great that you wrote about that. Okay, cool.
So our message is that methane sucks, and our food waste creates methane in the landfill, and we can all make a difference because it's easy to separate, and it's the law. And it matters because we want a livable world for our children, and San Diego cannot afford sea level rise or more frequent wildfires. More food in the landfill is harming our environment. So our message is basically, you can scroll down just a little. Yeah, our message is basically food waste in the trash really stinks. Separating food waste into the green bin is how we can all help planet Earth.
I love that you use the stinks play on word. It actually probably stinks, and it's like it stinks because it's a bummer. Yeah.
It does. I can tell from experience. I mean, I live in a place where we don't have trash service, and separating all your organic waste makes for dry, clean trash that you can throw in the back of your car after it's been sitting for 3 weeks. No problem. It's not offending anyone.
Awesome. Yeah, true. Awesome. Well, that's great. Yeah, no, that's an awesome one. And actually, San Diego 350, we're trying right now to promote this on social media. So this is nice. Like you're also writing about this. So great. And then do you have like I know maybe you didn't get to the platform section,
No,
so that's okay.
We didn't get to it. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, the message is very short and concise, and we know exactly what you're talking about and why we should care. And yeah, did an awesome job.
I think a little video of somebody just showing how they prepare food and stop themselves before they put it in the trash and put it in their countertop bin. And then proudly, dumping it in their green waste and
That's a
saying
great
something like,
idea.
I'm doing my part, and maybe, you can put a little superhero cape on them when they do that. I think.
Make it seem easy, and so people
Yeah.
will more likely do it, right? Yeah, just show them the ropes and be like, yeah, it's just as simple as that. So yeah, I love that. Great. Thank you so much for sharing, Shawl. That's awesome. Okay, and so how about group 2? Do you want to go next? Group 2?
Sure. I lost Alexa, so anyway.
All right.
Let me give it a shot. So
Okay.
we had a really finite audience, which is Padres fans who are not far from a trolley hub. So let's see. So the overall goal was kind of a stealth goal that we did not, that I did not include in the message. It is what we really want people to do, of course, is to reduce vehicle use and to introduce them or to reinforce the habit of taking public transportation. So here's the message. Hey, Padres fans, like me, you'd like an easy and convenient way to attend the game and avoid the cost and headache of parking. Take the trolley. Visit website for San Diego Metropolitan Transit District for schedule and locations. See you at the stadium.
Love it. That's great. Clear call to action in the the audience is right there. We know exactly who you're talking to. So awesome. That's great. I love to see you at the game too. It's like, puts positive spin on it. Nice. Awesome. That was great. Good way of communicating that. And I don't know, did you guys get to maybe like a creative way of representing it, or
we didn't get that far?
No, it's okay. No worries. I know it's kind of a lot on this worksheet, I realized, for the short amount of time I gave you all. So hey, thanks so much, Pamela, for sharing. And then how about, oh, go ahead.
I wanted to add in something about the public transportation that I didn't realize. We're riding the coaster and the Sprinter a lot. And like the parking at all these transit stations is completely free. I don't think people even realize that, and they're not even using it. They just park and you get on you don't even have to pay to park. It's a pretty good deal.
Good point.
Yes, that is a good point. Yeah. And just even
free, and then just hop on it. And if you're over 65, you get a discount.
Oh, wow.
Sweet deal.
It's like half price.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great deal. And you know how how much it costs to park places nowadays. It's like, why wouldn't you choose that free option? So awesome. Great. Thanks, Janice, for sharing that. Okay. Yeah, breakout. How about group 3? Do we have any that wants to share for group 3?
Hi. For my group, I think the person that I was working with, whose name was Ruby, got kicked out while I was in the breakout. And I think it was like in the second half. So it was the 5 minutes that you gave us in addition to the thought, but I can still share.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so sorry. I hope everything is okay. Yeah, but if you want to share, that's great. I'm sorry that happened, that you lost your partner though. But yeah, if you want to share, thanks.
Okay, so for Ruby and I, we discussed the topic that we wanted to focus on was whenever like people visit beaches, oftentimes like they leave trash, and like especially when like the holidays such as like 4th of July. And I recall reading like an article briefly about how during the 4th of July it reached like a high amount, like the highest, like one of the highest it's seen, like for a specific place that it's seen in terms of the amount of trash left behind. And the article also discussed about like the impact that it has on like the environment. And so that's the focus that Ruby and I decided to go with. And in terms of our message, what we said was clean beaches by going green, spread awareness by shedding out new opportunities. And what that means is essentially by like educating ourselves as well as cleaning up after owning trash, or like perhaps using reusable containers, then we can hope to reduce reduce environmental like waste on beaches that's often found by, hopefully our goal was like about 10%, but maybe more realistically it would be better to have it like around 5%.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, clean beaches by going green. And so are you trying to get them to do beach cleanups? Is that, or like go to a beach cleanup, or?
Yeah, like perhaps like taking initiative, like as in, like leading campaigns, or perhaps gathering a group of people to do that also together. I think that was also one of our other goals, perhaps. I think that was like
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of your goals up here. Or oh, okay. Nice. Great. Yeah. And then go ahead.
Oh yeah. And then for one of the platforms that we selected, it was Instagram. And in terms of for Instagram, they often have posts and reels, and more recently, especially reels on Instagram have been becoming more popular. So they're kind of like a video format type of thing for the platform. And so for posts, we could spread like perhaps fun facts relating to beach cleanups and the environment as a whole, as well as like the history of beach cleanups and perhaps the impact that it has on like the future, as well as helping reduce environmental issues that the world currently faces. And then in terms of reels, we could format that in a way that is engaging to users. And by that, we meant that basically spreading more information, but making it very engaging to the point where it's not just like strictly just like reading off like a slideshow, or, like on like for the videos specifically, because oftentimes with videos, compared with perhaps presenting live, is you need to essentially get the attention of whoever's watching the video right away.
Yes. Yeah, that is a great point, actually. Yeah, you need to really catch them, like have that grabber beginning, because otherwise they're not going to stay, like, yeah. So I love that idea. Yeah, get them early for sure. Yeah. And videos, definitely reels are a great way to engage an audience and get people, interested in your topic. And I heard I know a lot of like commercials and like ads, like companies who put ads on reels, they try to make it seem like an actual reel, not super professional looking, so that people will stay and watch it. So yeah, try what you're going with. Did you have anything else to add, Allison? Or
that's all for now. Thank you.
okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Allison. That's great. Yeah, got your good message and a great way of sharing it with using the reels. And then I see Janice has a little comment here. Follow Oceans Institute on Insta. Oh, I don't follow them. I'll have to check them out. The word was on the beach.
It's me. That's why it's not, someone, it's because Ocean Institute is Dana Point and mine is Oceans Institute. And my daughter did a gold award on beach cleanups in San Diego. So you'll see a lot of the creative posts that she did about beach cleanups. And I thought, Allison might want to take a look at that.
That's so cool. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a great space to share,
a ton more artistic than me, and she just has really like minimize your mess, or fast food is fast trash, let's not soak in plastic. She just has market change. She just has good messages, and a lot of posts about the beach cleanups that we did them last year. Stop mass littering. Yeah, she just has a lot of limit your plastic utensil usage. Just a bunch of, good slogans that might be helpful.
Yes, short and concise. People know exactly what she's talking about. Yes, that's great. Thanks for sharing.
20, so she's the right age to know what message to put out there. I was just mentoring her and guiding her on like how to do the, the beach cleanups and stuff. But there's some pictures of our group with bags. You can't believe the number of bags of trash you find out there. It's incredible.
Oh, I know, I'm sure. And it's just constant. I mean, you do a beach cleanup one day and then there's more trash the next day. It's like, yeah, I know it's a big issue for sure. And that's why I think marketing is so important, because, you have to have like good videos and good engaging like slogans like that. So people are interested in what you do, so you can get more people to come out.
She has this great one. If she has a picture of like this kind of like oil slick on the beach with a cigarette butt in it, and she says she put it, clean your butt. I mean, it's funny. Just check it out.
That's great. Play on words is the best. Because, you know, maybe it'll get people to chuckle a little, but then maybe like think about it, you know? So.
Oh, she has like an otter with a head poking up. Go see the sea.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
SEE, the sea, SEA, you know, so.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, everyone has to go check out that Instagram
right
now.
I'm gonna have you guys hire her. I didn't even realize how good this was till I'm looking at it now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm like, oh, she should come and like help lead this presentation too and show all her examples. I know, that definitely, if you guys have more examples, feel free to put anything in the chat and share with each other. That's why we're here, to learn. Okay, well, thanks, Janice. So yeah, thank you all for your messages. We'll go ahead and move on to our next little slides. We're just going to go over some other tips and best practices now. So not too much longer, but yeah, so here are some, when you're creating your message, here are some tips to use. Of course, beautiful imagery, eye-catching graphics are always intriguing. Prioritize inclusivity and accessibility, use positive, responsible language, and of course, tell stories. Like Sydney was saying earlier, you know, sharing your own personal experiences and perspectives. Like, you know, this workshop is not only for like sharing messages through social media and that kind of stuff, but also just sharing messages through talking with people. You can really like learn a lot from other people's stories, and like climate stories, if we're talking about climate change, for example. So we're going to focus on telling stories for a second. So everyone kind of is a natural storyteller. You know, people want to share, and it's also great to listen to what people have to say as well. So, and because, you know, stories are how we share information and get to know one another. So the components of a great story, you know, of course, have that character. Stories have at least, you know, one character. It's usually a person. And your story can be you. And then, of course, a setting can be a physical place, but it can also be a set of circumstances in which a character finds themselves. So these are all components of a story. You know, you of course got to have that conflict. A conflict is an obstacle between a character, something that they really want. So, you know, we kind of saw that with the other PSA we watched from, you know, the Follow the Frog video. It had all these things. You had the character, the setting, the conflict, and then, of course, the resolution. So a lot of times the resolution is that call to action that you all did a great job on. So, you know, what's that main takeaway from the story? Other, you know, tips, use, you know, beautiful images, visuals, draw the audience in. Like Allison was saying, you know, you want to grab the person's attention right away. Kind of have maybe some short attention span sometimes, so you want to just get them and so that they're already intrigued right off the bat. The best images are in focus, high quality, have that clear subject, that person or object that you're trying to capture. You don't want to use any, like, of course, copyright images, and like, you know, if you're posting or doing something with SD350, you know, we have our color palette and our colors that we use for social media and that kind of thing, and also our photos on our Flickr page. You can check out our photos as well if you want. You're just curious. Other things, you know, use captions. This is for like accessibility as well. Using captions and like large text. Well, captions on videos is great. A lot of times I scroll and I don't even listen to the video. I just like read it. So captions are a great way to engage with your audience. Also putting large text on high contrast backgrounds, and also making sure like you're using maybe white on a darker background instead of dark on dark. You know, that might be like a little bit harder to see. So, you know, here's some examples of what not to do and then what to do. Yeah, just looks more visually pleasing. Of course, avoid jargon. Not everyone's going to know what acronyms that you might know. they might not know what those mean, like GHG. Maybe someone doesn't know that that means greenhouse gases. So it's better to like write it out, even though it might seem long and you're like, probably everyone would know it. Maybe not. So it's just better to be safe than not have people know what you're talking about. So yeah. And then use gender neutral pronouns, they, them, when they're talking about a hypothetical person, or we when we're referring to the organization. A lot of times we use we. If you look at our social media posts for SD350, yeah. And then don't refer to others in a disempowering or negative way. Instead of saying, for example, help vulnerable minorities, maybe saying elevate marginalized voices sounds a lot better, putting it more in like positive light. You're elevating voices. You know, vulnerable might have more of a negative connotation to it. So just kind of paying attention to those word usage. Okay, and then don't reinforce harmful stereotypes, inclusive representation of all members in an organization, not just SD350, but any organization. It's good to have representation. Okay, and also use positive, responsible language. So, you know, a lot of times this topic of climate change can be really doom and gloom. I mean, it is like, it's, you know, not the happiest of topics, but it's great if you, you know, try to be a little more positive and maybe give people a inspiration instead, or like things they can do to help. So this is, you know, avoid pessimistic messaging. This is from the World Wildlife Fund. We have, you know, we cut off something that doesn't grow again. Wherever the rainforest is cleared, barren ground remains. I mean, super powerful image, but kind of a little bit negative. So, you know, maybe if they could put a positive, like, you know, but we can help, like, here's how, like, that might be a little better. I mean, I'm sure, you know, they're probably like donate to, you know, at the end, but yeah, that beginning message could be a little more positive. So focus on what can be gained, not what is lost. Highlight the wins, that hope and success. You know, highlight your proof of impact, how you're making an impact or how the organization is. Focus on available solutions. So give people a solution to the problem, because, you know, if you just give the problem, like people are gonna be like, well, what can I do to help? Connect the issue of San Diego and its residents. You know, why should San Diegans care about this issue? You know, connect with them and emphasize the present and what can be achieved today. Be honest, don't exaggerate. Sometimes it's easy to exaggerate something that you think is like a super big issue, and like, but it's just better to just be honest with the facts and let that stand on its own. So yeah, okay. So now what, if you have any questions, I can answer questions. There's a few more slides though. So maybe I want to just talk really quickly about the marketing and comms team for SD350, and then I can answer questions. I just really want, I'm part of the marketing and communications team. And if you all are on a San Diego 350, one of the teams, like we are here to support the other like 13 volunteer teams that San Diego 350 has. And so if you have like something from like the food and soil team that you want to get out into the public and really like drive the green bins, for example, like you really want that to get out, we are here to support all the teams. So we can help with materials, slide deck templates, you know, graphic templates, social media kits, all that. Amplifying your message, you know, help you create social media posts, include your event or your campaign in newsletter, and also help you strategize. So we are here as a tool for you all to get your message out. And also if you have any questions, you can, of course, contact me, and I can put my, I'll put my email on the chat too after this. But Also, we have a marketing request form if you do have anything that you want to get out to the public. So if you would like this form, I can email that to you. So I'll put my email in the chat and you can just email me. So yeah, we want to be an asset for the teams. Of course, this is pretty much just saying that as soon as you have a topic or like an event, please let us know as soon as possible, just so we can, help you get your message out sooner as opposed to later. So here's a closing thought before I answer any questions. The people most responsible for climate change historically, globally, as well as domestically, are not the same people who are feeling the pain first, worst, and longest. If you're just talking about greenhouse gases and parts per million, you're not seeing the issues around vulnerability and justice. So that's why it's always great in your messaging around climate action to not only talk about the facts and those, numbers, but to talk about the people being affected and really reaching out like with that emotional aspect of why people should care. So yeah, okay. So I'm here to answer any questions you have now. So who has questions or comments? Yeah.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I think this has been very valuable.
I'm really glad you think so. And yeah, I think messaging is super important. So especially with a topic like this, right?
Absolutely.
Get out there. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And I can put my email here too if you want to reach out. My email. Anyone else?
Thank you for sharing that information, because I didn't realize you were available. I knew you worked for the organization, but you weren't available to each of the different teams that might be on a particular topic. So you can help with their campaigns. That's good to know.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I know we try to be available for like all the teams and help them out with, promoting for everyone. So yeah, I mean, our team does a lot of work and promoting through, the newsletters and social media. So yeah, we try to be there for all the teams. So if you have anything you want us to promote, let us know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I also want to say thank you for, it was a very clear presentation. I took some screenshots. I'm going to go over it again. It's great.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you all learned something, and yeah, it's good takeaways, and yeah, thanks for being here, Shaw. Hey.
Great. Yeah, thanks. I didn't think I was going to get in here. For last few days trying to get the link for the thing, and then I got the wrong link, and I was like, oh, well, at least I tried. And then all of a sudden I saw it on my email, and it was excellent. I haven't been in an intellectual training about this type of thing in probably decades. So it's great.
Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, Fred. And I know I'm sorry for everyone who received different links that didn't work. And so yeah, Paloma, she sent out the final link, and so I'm glad you all could make it. So sorry about the confusion with the links too, but yeah, glad you could make it, Fred. Thanks. Okay, well, have a great rest of your night, everyone, and thanks again for being here.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question quickly? I have impairment on the computer. I'm the opposite of a lot of people. I need to get off the computer. When I sign up for things, like say I signed up for a transportation meeting next month, is the link supposed to come right to me with that confirmation email, or do the links generally come through on the day of the session?
Yeah, so usually we have reminders set up for all events. And so I think most of the time you'll receive a reminder like 3 days, or I think it's 3 days before, the day before, and then like an hour before. So you should receive a series of about 2 to 3 reminders for it. But you'll definitely receive one like an hour before or like the day before, at the very least. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's
okay, so when I sign up, I don't have to worry about trying to save the thing I signed up for. Just put it on my calendar and wait for the link to come through.
exactly, yes. And then you'll receive that reminder link right before. So yeah.
What I like to do, Fred, is I say add to my calendar, but whenever you add to the calendar, all it's doing is really just sending you back to the registration page. So you have to get the link out of your email. When you add to your calendar, it doesn't include the link. It's just a reminder. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, because you definitely need the link. Yeah, because the link's not going to be on the
That's
page.
that's what I meant. The link
Yeah.
itself. I'm having a lot of trouble. Everybody seems to be different. I've had a lot of trouble figuring out whether I'm supposed to have had the link or whether the link's supposed to be coming or
so
whatever.
I meetings from my business. So what happens is, you know, you send them to the registration page and they sign up, but that thing that says add to my calendar is just like a bookmark. The actual link gets generated by the Zoom app. And so you're going to get an email from Zoom, but the calendar thing that you add to your calendar doesn't include the Zoom link because that sort of comes after the fact. So just if that helps you understand where everything's coming from, like you get the link from SD 350, you register, but then Zoom is the one that sends you the email with the link in it. It comes from Zoom. Unless 350 takes the Zoom link, adds it to their own email and sends it again as a reminder, you can do that too. So
yeah, because our reminders are
every month, so I'm always doing this.
Yeah, I know they're all coming from different places. I know because we send out the reminders through us and then have the Zoom link on it. But yeah, and then Zoom might also send a reminder. But anyway, yes.
Oh, okay. So that's the truth. The reminder does have the Zoom link on it.
We'll have
then
the
I
Zoom
can
link.
just highlight it when I get it.
Exactly. Yes. And that'll be through email.
Okay.
What was that? Oh, Meetup.
If you had an account on Meetup, people it might promote SD 360 more just to have a Meetup account. They're pretty inexpensive, and at least you'd say, okay, it would be announcing this is our next Meetup. Even though on Zoom, because now you can then put the Zoom link into the Meetup registration. So it's not public, but as soon as you RSVP on Meetup, the Zoom link shows up, at least the registration page.
That's a great idea. Actually, I do have the Meetup app. But I haven't thought about using it for the organization. So that's a good idea.
Well, right, because it used to be, it was always about in person. So I run a real estate club. It used to always be in person. And now that we're online, Meetup is just letting people know. And it also sends them a reminder of like, what's coming up this week? And people look at it and go, oh, that's right. They're going to have a meeting. Maybe I'll join. So you might get better attendance.
Oh, because then they also send a reminder. So that's a good point.
Reminder, and people search by keyword, whatever they're interested in, it'll pop up into their list of potential meetings if they have environment or anything in the keyword that they care about.
Yeah, that's actually a really great idea. We should get on Meetup.
I literally Meetup. I mean, I started with 0 people 5 years ago, and I have 800 people that follow my club. But some of them came because I go to other meetings, but most of them come from Meetup. I'll get 10, 20 new people a month just coming from Meetup, from me doing nothing except posting when my meetups are.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Wait, and so we advertise for you in a way.
Is yours what you told me, the organization, or is your club different?
No, mine is called Private Lending Masters. It's about real estate investing. My Meetup is,
And so you got a lot of people like interested. That's good. That's great. Like, okay. Yeah, we'll totally have to try that. Because I do have the Meetup app, and it's actually really cool to kind of see what people are doing, different organizations.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you would have to pay for the basic account, but it's like $12 a month for the, it's worth it because it attracts people that you would never find from your own outlet. Yeah,
that's true. And there are people who are wanting to get involved, otherwise they wouldn't have what going on Meetup.
There's all kinds of, groups that do that. So.
Awesome. Thanks for letting me know, Janice. Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, I'll have to look into that. Awesome.
Really enjoyed it.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, well, thank you so much and have a good rest of your night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.